the food is different, the environment is different, the system of the university is different. So what abilities you need to go abroad? I was brave enough to ask these kind of stupid questions that are not stupid. I will say number one, you will need a really strong mind. Surround yourself with a really strong support group, and you will need to find a new home far from home. I feel like I left a part of my personality and my identity back in Mexico. Thank God I found a really nice place and a church here that I also enjoy, and I keep playing piano there to also feel at home in the sense of the faith.
Good day, dear friends. I am Vadim, an Erasmus Mundus student, and this is More Than Studying podcast, where international students share their experiences of studying abroad and much more. I hope the stories collected in this podcast are not only helpful, but also inspiring. Remember, what we did, you can also do. Just give it a try. And today my guest is Abdiel. He is from Mexico and is a student of the first year of the Erasmus Mundus Master in Nanoscience and Nanotechnology. He's actually a first-generation postgraduate student in his family. That is a high responsibility. And also the oldest of 4 brothers. His dad is an engineer and mom studied pedagogy. They are pastors of small evangelical church east from Mexico City, his hometown. Hi, Abdiel. What a big introduction, I would say. How are you?
Vadim. Hi, I'm really happy to be here with you. And yes, quite an interesting introduction, to be honest. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you know, now I would like to know more about your background, where you studied in Mexico and what.
Of course. Yes, I'm originally from Mexico City. And for my undergraduate studies, I moved to Ensenada. That is a really nice city in the west coast of Mexico, really close to San Diego. There I had the privilege to study nanotechnology.
Did you have any international experience during your bachelor's studying or?
Yes, actually I was blessed enough to go to the University of California in San Diego. I was there during one summer. I was working in the Department of Physics, working alongside with a PhD student. And after that, I won a scholarship to go abroad. I went to the Universidad de Concepción in Chile, where I did another internship. So yeah, I had those 2 abroad experiences prior to my master's.
Which is also international. You know what? Now I want to know, how did you get these opportunities? I mean, how did you find them? And like, what do you actually need to be able to participate in such kind of things? Like go to California, to Chile, travel around the world, studying, doing science, etc.
A great advantage that I had during my undergraduate studies was that because my home university in Mexico, it's really close in terms of scientific collaboration with other universities, not only in Mexico, but also abroad, due to the really high amount of researchers and investigators. So it was just a matter of coming close to one PI and saying, hello, you know what, my name is Abdiel, and I would like to dwell in a little bit of your space of research. I would like to work for you. And after that, I was just looking in the internet for opportunities within my university.
So there are a lot of opportunities. You just need to look for them.
Exactly, yeah.
And use them, of course.
Yes. In terms of what abilities you need to go abroad, I will say number one, you will need a really strong mind to be able to get out of your comfort zone and to be able to push it no matter what's on your way, because sometimes we are really used to the comfort of our universities or even our model language. And if you want to go abroad, you will face a lot of obstacles to that is sometimes not related directly to studies, but more like personal level. So I will say that you will need a strong mind, and also surround yourself with a really strong support group. In my case, my advisor during my undergrad is an amazing person, both an investigator as well and researcher.
So you have international experience of studying in different countries. Can you, I don't know, say one thing that you really liked about studying in one country, in each country, right? And then something that you found quite difficult or challenging, like during your projects in these countries. So you can start like in chronological order.
Yes, of course. So my first experience abroad was in California, in UCSD, and I have to be honest. I loved San Diego as a city.
I can imagine.
Yeah, because of my background as Mexican, I really liked the city. I liked the universities. One of the best public schools in not only in California but also the whole United States, and the physics department in particular. It's interesting because it has a lot of collaboration within several organizations, not only private but also within the government of the USA. So it was really interesting to see this kind of environment for science and technology. Being an undergrad student, it's really, you are really amazed by everything. So I really loved that. The food was also really nice, to be honest.
It's important.
Yeah, that's really important as well. Then I moved to Chile for 3 months, and it was quite interesting because both in Chile and Mexico we speak Spanish, but the accent of the Chilean people, it's one of a kind. At first I was, okay, people, are you speaking Spanish actually? Because the accent is so different from the Mexican. There are several words that don't necessarily mean the same. I actually have, up to this date, my Chilean dictionary with some of the phrases and words that I pick up during my stay in Chile. And Concepcion is a really nice city. The people I've met there are still really, really important for me, and I keep cheering our time together. Also, the food there was something else because I love spicy food.
Okay.
I'm Mexican and I can handle it really, really well. So at least in San Diego, I didn't have the problem of missing the spiciness in food. But in Chile, they are not used to have a lot of spicy. So I was looking in every supermarket and every place to get some of spicy sauce.
Yeah, and what about Belgium now?
Oh, yeah. Now Belgium, a whole different experience, a whole different continent for me. Belgium is really interesting in the sense of the weather. For me, I never experienced before this kind of weather that you cannot expect. But I really like now my lifestyle here, actually. I forgot actually how to ride a bike back in my home country in Mexico. But here I had to relearn for probably 2 weeks until I was feeling confident to ride a bike again. And the food is different, the environment is different, the system of the university is different. So I'm still trying to figure out how does this whole new environment works and how do I fit within this country.
Okay, you know what, like the story that you described, it seems that you are step by step quite softly were going out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
And I think that this is quite important. You cannot just like step out and like immerse in a totally new environment far from home, because it might be really difficult for you and like for mental health as well. And like I know people that they cannot just handle it and they decide just to go home where it is comfort and like safe and sound they can be. Yeah. So it's important to wisely improve like and go and become an international student step by step.
Yes.
But I have another question then. Can you name any advantages of being international student and probably disadvantages? I mean, like Yeah, something like this.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Being an international student, I will say some advantages are like you get to know people that otherwise you will never be able to meet. For example, uh, I've never met any Europeans while I was living in Mexico, nor in the United States, nor in Chile. But here in Belgium, it was the first day actually where I had to meet new people from all over Europe, in Italy, Belgium, the Netherlands, Germany, France, you name it. And I will say that also gives you the advantage of getting to present your country in a way that probably other people don't even know about. For example, I have friends that the only thing they knew about Mexico were probably football or the food or Cancun, for example, that are kind of the positive things that they know about Mexico. But Mexico, it's really it's way more than that. So being able to also represent my culture in a bigger group of people, I think that's also really really special. Probably a disadvantage is that I feel like I left a part of my personality and my identity back in Mexico. I feel some sort of incomplete in the sense of okay, my family is there in Mexico. Number one, I have friends that are also staying there in Mexico. That's also probably one of the biggest challenges out here, of getting to overcome that feeling of homesickness and getting used to a new environment without your previous supporters. Probably another thing that I don't like about living probably abroad is that I cannot manage my stipend as wisely as I will do in Mexico, because back in Mexico I know how the prices behave. If it's too expensive, if it's not expensive, if it's good time to buy certain stuff or not. But here in Europe, it's quite
confusing.
Confusing, yes. It's quite confusing for me because sometimes I find myself trying to convert all of the prices to Mexican pesos, and yeah, sometimes it's not good. And yeah, it's part of a process of getting used to a new different sets of rules.
In terms of food, like I also remember this trick that I used to do. I used to think like, okay, I spent this amount of money to buy groceries for a week, and okay, like then I can compare if I buy this thing, how many weeks of food
yeah, exactly,
measured
yes.
in this.
Yeah,
because
yes.
how else can you do this? Starting with advantage, you named that you can build more new connections with people, right? How can you actually do this? I mean, what is your strategy? I know that you know a few languages and you like to speak with people, with native speakers in their language. So is it the way that you like make new friends, or are there any other ways?
You know, there's this whole culture about introverted people, extroverted people, and how easily it's for them, for each type, to make new friends and connections in general. And I will say that for me it's quite easy to introduce myself to people. Here in Europe, I've struggled with the new social rules or the social manners. For example, in Mexico, when you meet one guy or one girl for the first time, it's really intuitive how to greet them.
Okay.
Like, okay, it's first probably a handshake, and then a kiss on the cheek. That's the standard for meeting new people in Mexico, no matter if it's a girl or a mom, or for example in my case that I'm a guy. I can do that. And it's not weird at all. But here with European girls, it's more it's more like, okay, there's certain distance, there's certain rules that is like, we don't do that here. So I needed to change my mindset towards that, how to greet new people. And then also, as you mentioned, and I like to learn some languages. And I think that's also really interesting. It's opportunity for you to make others feel appreciated and to be seen.
Yeah, I guess you're absolutely right. Okay, about like disadvantage that you mentioned, it's kind of a homesick or just like yeah, not being able to stay connected to the friends that you have back at home, for example. I have the question like how did you or how you are dealing with this?
We are now in the European Central Time Zone, I guess.
Yeah.
And Mexico City, it's 8 hours difference from Europe. It's kind of the opposite time zone for me and my family and friends back there. Uh, right when I'm going to bed, they are in the middle of their activities through the day. So it's quite hard to have a designated space or time to have a talk with them or video meeting or just a message. But I think the people that we really care of and the people that really care about us are going to stay there no matter what. Probably just as probably the conversation is not fluent like every day, but I have friends and people that I haven't spoken probably for months, and out of a random day, random situation, I got to message them, and the conversation is still there. It's like nothing has happened
Yeah.
since that. So, yeah, I will say that's one of the challenges, and yeah, if you only rely on your prior connections and bonds, you will have a harsh time, and you will need to find a new home far from home with
Yeah.
new connections and new people.
Is there anything else that changed or like any new hobbies or hobbies that you are not maintaining anymore in terms of like this traveling thing? Yeah, what can you say
Yes.
about it?
So as you probably know, I'm a Christian, and actually I've been a Christian since 11,
Hmm?
when I was really having the conviction, like personally, to continue with faith. And within the Christian community, I had the privilege and the honor of playing the keyboard at church since I was probably 12, 13 years old. And I think that's one of the main things I look everywhere I go. I look a place to also feel at home in the sense of the faith. In San Diego and Chile, I had the chance also to go to church there, and meet people there. As actually one of my, I think my closest friends. And back in San Diego and Chile, church was in Spanish, so I got to feel really comfortable with everything, with the music, with the preaching, with the communication with the people there. Here in Belgium, I was also struggling. It was really challenging to probably, okay, I know the songs, I know most of the vocabulary for a normal English conversation, but trying to translate all of my Christian vocabulary in Spanish to English was really challenging. And thank God I found a really nice place, and a church here that I also enjoy, and I keep playing piano there. So I will say that's one of the hobbies, and more than hobby, one of my core activities and core things I keep doing everywhere I go.
I think that sounds really, really good that you know what determines you as like a personality, how to keep this authentic core like alive in you. This is very good. And I think that being an international student and traveling a lot, you should be aware of what is necessary for you to be like in good shape, not only physically, also mentally. That's quite important.
I will say I start being active more. I start swimming, I start running, and start going to the gym. I was not actually a really active person in Mexico. I have to be honest. I didn't like to play a lot with my brothers back in my city. They were always like, "Hey, Abdiel, let's go and play basketball." And I will be like, "I don't want to go. It's too late, or it's too early in the morning." But I think now that It's been probably 3 or 4 months since I start running. I think that also helps a lot to try to balance all the traffic that's going through your mind, and sometimes it's just too much.
What about just like studying here, like your studying trajectory? Because like, okay, it's a podcast about more than studying, but what about studying as well? Like, you enjoy the program, like what courses you liked, and what do you actually think about it?
I must say that studying here in Belgium has been quite of a big challenge, for me at least. Back in Mexico, it's really important how much you do throughout the whole semester. Like projects, papers, reports, presentations, and that's really heavily influenced on your final grade. I think a big difference and a game changer for me was the fact that here, at least in Leuven, we don't have a lot of midterms. I was used to that. That system worked for me really well because I knew that as the semester was going by, I was able to probably remember more of the concepts and information instead of getting all the load by the end of the semester as we do here. So some courses I've really liked here. Probably the piano.
This is problem solving course.
Exactly, yes. And we actually shared the same project, and we worked together. And
this is really hands-on experience.
Yes.
We worked in a lab for 2 days each week. It was quite intense.
It was quite intense, but I really liked that. And back in Mexico, I also had the chance during a 6-month internship that you do, and you can go to the industry or you can stay at the university and work with a researcher. It was so nice to go to the lab for probably more than 4 or 5 hours, to be honest. That's quite heavy. But that's why I really like about being a researcher in the future, probably.
Yeah, what about actually your plans for future? Because like it seems that you are really enjoying this international experience, and you really want to explore more other, like, I don't know, universities or countries or etc. Like in terms of science, because like science is a very good field to where international connections really matters.
Yeah.
So what about your future?
The logical option for me, and actually for a lot of students that follow masters in science and or engineering, it's go for a PhD. But to be honest, after my masters, I will like to go back to Mexico, kind of as Superman goes to the Fortress of Solitude, to have a time for myself, and also for visiting my family again, and to plan the next move.
You know what? Yeah, balance is really important. In order to avoid like this burning out situation, you really need some time, like after a master's, to think about your future and not rush to a PhD or industry. Probably it does make sense. Yeah. What about like a piece of advice that you might give? Because I know that you have now a video call with one of your professors to discuss one of your publications before. And I know that some students who are thinking about going abroad, they don't really know on which aspect to focus. Like, should they have publications or participate in conferences, or I don't know, do an internship or have industrial experience? What, from your point of view, because you have a lot of international experience, does matter?
Yeah, okay. I don't know about a lot of the backgrounds of probably the most of students that are listening to this, but at least in science, I think it's still really a strong focus on how much you do during your studies besides getting good grades. Back in Mexico, I have to be honest, I wasn't the best student, and I don't really have like good grades compared with other colleagues and friends.
But what is your GPA, if it's not a secret?
My GPA in undergrad was 9.06 out of 10. So it's really quite high. But within my batch, there were like 9.7s, 9.5s, and I was probably right in the middle. So knowing that, I was like, okay, I need something else to support my curriculum. Since that, I started a lot of extracurricular activities. I was the first generation of this innovation hub at my university, and I submitted a project for representing my university in a competition. The name of this hub is with Enactus, and you can look it after in Google. Is quite of an interesting association. It's all over the world. It's about entrepreneurship with social impact, and you basically get to know also a lot of people because of that. But yeah, still, if you find yourself lost, I would say like also look for help. I think we all know at least one people in our circle that has gone through this process before, and that for sure is going to help you a lot. In my case, I have a lot of mentors that have supported me throughout my academic journey, and yeah, most of the things I learned were because of them, because I was brave enough to ask these kind of stupid questions that are not stupid; they're just questions, and we need to normalize expressing these stupid questions more often, because we don't know everything, and it's okay because we are just humans and we are just learning.
Yeah, I definitely agree with the point, with your point about the grade, that this is only one line in your CV. And yeah, you should probably do something extracurricular, like internships, or like asking for help, like what else can you do? That's really true. Okay, I think that this was a really nice interview, Abdil. Thank you very much. If you, dear listeners, have any questions about studying abroad, please ask them in comments. Share this podcast if you like it, and support us with your feedback. Always do your best and live with all your heart. Abdil and Vadim were with you today. Stay tuned to our More Than Studying podcast.
Bye.